Yo, bros. It's been a while since I've done a Bitcoin video, so here we are, Bitcoin video time. Is this gonna make? Hello, hello. It's good. How about? We're good. Okay, Bitcoin. Um, I just wanted to do a quick video. I mean, all everything that has been said, not by me, but that I would just be parroting what someone else has to say, but something I don't hear a lot about. And again, this is bullish Bitcoin crap, right? Like, there's like at this day and age, I don't know who can really be bearish. So, I mean, of course, it's going to be bullish. And now the algorithm is just like continuing speculation and it's just people. But I just kind of, I'll be on that bandwagon. And also just wanted to create different content that isn't like mental health disorders and me losing my mind and something that is stable. And I spent tens of thousands of hours on it. So the most, there's many like very profound notions about Bitcoin. And the one that I like to look at, and the one I don't really hear that many people talking about, but is like someone who I invest in TradFi, blah blah blah. But you know, um, if fiat really is a Ponzi scheme, which I believe it is, and it is a new paradigm shift is happening in which fiat currency is obsolete. Asterisks most, right? There might be a few that like like USD, but what is the notion here? The notion is everything, if that is true, and to the extent that that's true, every single asset and everything based in fiat is the greater fool theory, i.e., the idea. Well, a lot of people think about Bitcoin. They're like, oh, it's a Ponzi because then you just people. I'd say they're between like 10 and 100 hours of Bitcoin knowledge will say this. They'll say, well, you're only getting, you're only appreciating your Bitcoin because someone else had to buy it at a higher price. And then eventually everyone's going to figure out and they're just all going to sell it and you're going to be screwed. And they're just thinking about the greater fool, right, theory, which is backing up if the thesis about fiat being a Ponzi, and to the degree that it is a Ponzi and it is like, only based in confidence, and it kind of is the case, government saying it has value is literally all it is. That's why else would we be the World Reserve still when we were like arguably one of the worst economies as far as like actually creating value. Anyway, it's a whole tangent. We have big guns, whatever. So confidence game. It's a confidence game. Backing up, and this is the probably title of the video. Bitcoin is the first asset in human history that is the opposite of the greater fool theory. I think that's the most bullish sentiment about Bitcoin, and I don't hear that many people talk about it in this way. They do like proxy wise or like peripherally they talk about this notion, but I'm directly saying that like it is, to the degree that fiat is a Ponzi, Bitcoin is, by definition, the first asset that is the opposite of the greater fool theory. In other words, anytime you sell it, and this is what boggles my mind and makes me feel culty, but once you spend enough time, it's evident. Like I think Jack Dorsey said, the only thing I've heard in any recent time about anything negative about it is if it doesn't end up being immediate exchange, then it will, it's not going to be used as much, and then people will just be like, well, but I don't buy that. There's too many bullish things. Anyway, so that's the thing that boggles my mind, is that if people are at like 1,000 hours, under 1,000 hours, depending on how smart you are, I'm the kind of guy that has to watch the movie 3 times to get all the nuances. So if you watch the, Goodfellas the first time and you just sucked in all the beauty of that movie, maybe you got it. Maybe you have that brain. Maybe you can, don't have that ADHD going on. But whatever amount of hours, a certain amount of hours, like if you haven't come to the conclusion about Bitcoin that everything ultimately that meme is like the most profound. It's like 21 million against everything, against infinity. If you haven't gotten to that conclusion, I would argue you haven't done enough work researching. You haven't done enough of the work to build that confidence. It's not, people go, that's like delusional, or that's like crazy. That's like, then you think people like it would just go like this, but that's all. What's so beautiful about it is like, so beautiful about it is like, it's all about, like, you just take enough time. Like, that's what they say about, rich people are often, older. When you're 55, you would trade in that money for time, because time becomes more valuable. And you have the money already, so their time means something. But when you're young, let's say under 40, 50, and everyone's different, but like people in their 30s, like millennials, I just implore these people, if you're a millennial or younger, like, just educate yourself on Bitcoin. And if you haven't gotten to that conclusion, I would argue you haven't done enough education. You haven't done enough research into Bitcoin. And you have two things going for you. Number one, the education, this is kind of my point that's beautiful, is that you're able to leverage your confidence and in something, right? Like, I think about why I am so bullish and why I even care about this is because and why I care about psychology at the same time. I just like, I have and always have and always will have a vehemently acute view of a vehemently high disdain for bullshit, as well as trying to people please. I'm not going to get into all my personal problems or why I'm like a workaholic, and why I was like, why I am the butt nut that I am today. But like, more or less, like, money was very important to me for some reason. Superficial shit. And so you mix making a lot of money and not liking bullshit. Like, I'm the kind of guy, I would take someone from work and drive them to my bank so they can use the coin fucking thing, so that the Coinstar doesn't rip them off out of principle, because fuck that shit. And so at scale, that kind of mentality, I just think it's just like, again, that is the only thing that's kind of like, it's not utopian society. It's not, you will have to, the earlier you get in, the more you can get, but it's the opposite of what you think. People go like, oh, it went down, that sucks. If you think Bitcoin sucks when it goes down, this sounds like such like salesmanship shit. I'm a shitty salesman. I try to sell knives. I gave away the knives because I'm like, I can't afford this here, or maybe you'll do me a favor later. Like, this is bullshit. These are too expensive. Here are the knives. Like, Bitcoin is never too expensive. When it goes down, you should be stoked. Again, you haven't done enough research if you don't think that, unless you're 70. You're not watching this video if you're 70. So do the research. Do the research on Bitcoin now, this year. Do it. You're on this video. You probably have I have no skin in the game. Like, I may or may not have some. I don't want to talk about my exact situation. Most people that are talking about Bitcoin probably have some. I might have a proxy. You don't know. No one will know. But the point is that would be pretty crazy if it's just a whole bunch of people on the internet talking about Bitcoin because they want the price to go up to get people to. It is kind of like that, though. It is. I will concede that it is a little bit like I'm doing that multi-level marketing, but it's different because it's a fucking paradigm shift. And if it either is zero. Like, Michael Saylor's right. It's either worth nothing or it's worth everything. It's either going to zero or it's going to 1 million. What is more likely? To not have 1% of your shit. Even if you pick your next paycheck and you're like, I'm just throwing whatever you threw into garbage. Throw it in. Let me take that back. I used to get bullish and want people to buy it. You do not buy Bitcoin. You will regret it until you do the education. You need to have the confidence. You need to believe what I believe. That sounded terrible. If you haven't done enough work and get to the point where you believe it's the first asset to be the opposite of the greater fool theory, then you haven't done enough research, in my opinion. Not financial advice. I should have said that at the beginning. No one can sue me. You're not going to sue me. I'm a little YouTuber. Then I would argue you haven't done enough research. And this is a guy with the arm over his head talking in his, grain of salt, grain of salt. I mean, that's a nice painting. Makes me look pretty important. I obviously know what I'm talking about. It's my background. Anyway, getting a little ADHD, but getting a little bit crazy out here. I'm gonna go on a walk. Been watching a little too much YouTube. Do the research. Do the YouTube. Get to the point where you aren't gonna sell your Bitcoin. I would really. That's what I'm. There's so many people throughout the last whatever it has been 16 years that have like sold at 1,000, sold at 100,000, like, and then they're like, you know, and then they do the research. So it's better to do it ahead of time. And that's the video. So let me know what you guys think below. If you want more Bitcoin content, it's just going to be, if you're watching Bitcoin videos, I don't know how much I can educate. All my content would just be, because I'm just talking to a camera, it would just be mostly confident, like reassurance. I guess but then again, that is all my channel is, because if you had a narcissistic partner, you want to learn about psychology, like, it is just building up confidence. But I don't know. So I don't know. Psychology to me seems a little bit more interesting, just because for me personally, because Bitcoin I've already spent so much time on that I'm convinced, and I just feel like there's so much content out now that is so the news cycle, and psychology and relationships is a lot more like nuanced, and like I think hearing it from a different person can give you a different perspective. But anyway, let me know what you guys want to see. How do you feel about Bitcoin down below? Do you agree with me? I would really I like dialogue. I like to, I like talking to you guys, like, genuinely. So anything you comment on, I'm going to read it. So let me know what you think. Bitcoin! Catch you guys later.